As we take you across town for the big ones, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge from the Louisville Motor Speedway. One truck that will not be in competition, the famous Grave Digger. He is out with a broken front drive shaft.
Now, Gary, I talked to Dennis a little while ago before his run, and he had told me he was going to have problems with that front drive shaft. He knew it was damaged, but he wanted to make his qualifying run. Now, we'll see here at his second jump, you'll see the front drive shaft right there just blow out from underneath that truck. He keeps it under control. He wanted to make a good run for the crowd and get through qualifying anyway.
So Dennis Anderson unable to compete, and look at this run. Watch the action here, the Thunder Chicken driven by Kid Rarick.
Now, we talked about these ramps. Now, these are pretty steep ramps, as you can see. Now, this is going to cause a lot of wear and tear on these vehicles, as we've seen earlier with Dennis Anderson.
Well, Kid Rarick actually not buckled in tightly in that cockpit, and he was bounced around, but he is okay. A good crowd on hand, a very unique race course, a figure eight. As we take a look now after qualifying, this is round one action with the Clydesdale, Bennett Clark, and John Moore in no problem. A Chevrolet against the Ford Bronco.
Okay, Gary, one thing I might want to mention on this track now, as you see the inside lane, you might think that Clydesdale's got a little advantage here. But when they get around to the back side of this track, he's going to be on the outside lane, which will give no problem a little advantage. Now, here they come across the first set of cars, and this has to be real. Holy, right here, Clydesdale's got big problems. He busted the right rear wheel off of that truck. John Moore's going to have an easy win here if he stays together.
Well, John Moore can coast to victory. A very costly breakage on the part of the pink Clydesdale Chevy pickup truck. And John Moore will take the victory here in the first round. No problem, the fifth fastest qualifier, and the Clydesdale driver, Bennett Clark, climbs out to survey the damage.
As you can see again what happens, as soon as he hit that ramp, his rear tire hit. Now watch when he comes down. That's where the stress took over and just busted the whole housing right in half. As you see when the tire was laying on the ground, the axle was just hanging out of it.
We have talked about how abusive this figure eight course is. Is it the angle of the ramp?
Right, Gary. The angle of the ramps are everything in monster truck racing. If they get too steep, they're going to shoot them way up in the air like they're doing here and cause them to come down real hard.
Army Armstrong down there close to the action. He's caught up with Bennett Clark.
Bennett, do you have any idea what happened?
Yeah, I just took a look at it. I broke the whole axle housing off right next to where the planetary bolts to the axle.
These ramps look awfully steep. You guys are going way up in the air real quick.
Yeah, these steepest ramps I believe we've ever had. And, you know, I mean, we used to have these ramps 3 years ago. And I don't know, it takes a real tough truck to stand through this right here, no doubt.
We have seen a lot of damage so far today. We may see even more here on the figure eight course, the Louisville Motor Speedway in Louisville, Kentucky. The next pairing will have the equalizer against Mopar Magic, and Mopar Magic with Gary Wiggins also had his problems with that ramp. Now watch the air, watch the height on the takeoff with Mopar Magic.
Now, Gary, this was during qualifying. As you can see, he got way up there and got a little cockeyed coming off, but now he's running against equalizer, and he's going to be in that exact same lane. So that will be a little advantage to him because he knows what's going to happen when he comes around and hits them cars.
The young driver, Greg Holbrook, driving the equalizer, the defending national championship truck. He has the inside lane on the first half of this figure eight course. But here comes Gary Wiggins in Mopar Magic, and there may be a problem under the hood.
Yeah,
now he made the turn.
He's having a little bit of problems there, Gary. Now, equalizer took over going over the cars a little slow, but he knows he has a bit of an advantage here. And as you said, right, Mopar Magic is having problems. I talked to him a little earlier. I think he's having problems with his transmission, though, and it seems like it's slipping on him.
In qualifying, they run against the clock, but this is single elimination side-by-side competition. There is the killer box, apparently a problem with the kill switch on Mopar Magic.
As we'll see here, Gary, on the replay, watch the kill box come out of the cab onto the hood of the vehicle. Now, what this is a remote control kill switch to kill the engine if it should be out of control.
Well, indeed, it was out of control as far as the box bouncing across the hood, as we are now ready for the Carolina Crusher. Gary Porter and Kurt Fisher in Micro Machine.
Now, Micro Machine is a new vehicle on the circuit here. He's having a little bit of problems with it, but not too much. He's been running good. Like I said, they've been testing it over the past few weeks, and he's just coming on strong. Now, he's catching up to Gary Porter here real quick around that first turn, but neither one of them are going real fast now. I think they're taking a little easy, and look at Micro Machine almost pass him up there.
Well, the Carolina Crusher was the second fastest qualifier. Gary Porter second only to Andy Brass in Bigfoot 4. But right now, the Micro Machine's showing lots of steam on the inside. Can the Crusher get him?
Okay, one thing here we'll see, Micro Machine did beat him on this, but Carolina Crusher will advance because Micro Machine got disqualified. And we watch here on the replay, when he comes across, he gets too far into the grass, and that is considered out of bounds. As you can see where he's at over there, he's cutting the corner too tight, so he's disqualified.
So Kurt Fisher actually won it, only to be disqualified. Now, here is your fast qualifier, Andy Brass, Bigfoot 4, and Mike Wine in the Jersey Outlaw. The Jersey Outlaw's had some overheating problems today.
He has. Now, he has a motor in this truck out of a junkyard, more or less. It's almost a stock 460, but no, look, Andy's having some problems with that truck. Now, this is the same truck I've driven, Gary, and I had the same problems with it 2 and 3 years ago. The motor would just quit, and it's like an ignition problem or an electrical problem somehow. But we'll see if Andy can get it running again and come back around. It doesn't look real good. It looks like Jersey Outlaw is going to beat him. But if he can hurry up and get it running again, he might be able to get a good fast time and still be able to come back as a fast loser.
Well, Rich, with this 10-truck race format, some of the fastest losers do have a chance to come back in round 2 competition. But now we see that the Outlaw is starting to overheat. He eases over, and Mike Wine will win it. But here comes Andy Brass in Bigfoot 4. As you indicated, the truck that you drove a few years ago. This is not the Bigfoot 8 race truck. This is the older model. Andy Brass, after a very slow start, now begins to pick up the throttle, and he will conclude this run in hopes of being one of the faster losers and a chance to advance to round 2 competition.
Now, it seems like he got the truck running pretty good again. It doesn't seem to be cutting out at all. So maybe they've cured the problem, and hopefully he'll be able to come back.
A real crowd pleaser here in Louisville. We'll come back for more figure 8 competition. We are back at the Louisville Motor Speedway. A good crowd on hand, anticipating round 2 competition. Here's the way it shakes out. Mopar, the second fastest loser from round 1 against the Equalizer, and the Jersey Outlaw going against No Problem. Then it's Bigfoot, the fast loser, against King Crunch, and the Carolina Crusher will have a bye run in this second round.
And of course, the Carolina Crusher automatically advances into the semifinals because Thunder Chicken was broke and was not able to come and run.
We look in the cockpit here with Greg Holbrook, the youngster, with a thumbs up. He is ready to drive the Equalizer against Gary Wiggins and Mopar Magic.
And they're doing real good here. Equalizer gets a good head start on Mopar Magic. He was a little slow coming out of the hole. I think he's still having problems with that transmission. Now you can see he's a little behind here, but you can't go by that. When they get around to the other half of this track, anything could happen.
Not a lot of air under the Equalizer that time. The youngster, Greg Holbrook, took it easy. He has the big lead right now, the last half of the run, and there's a problem.
Right there, Mopar Magic is going to be out of it. He couldn't keep it going. I think either the transmission just totally went out on him or the engine died. I won't know until he gets back into the pits.
So Greg Holbrook will advance to the Final 4. The day is over for Gary Wiggins and Mopar Magic.
Gary, let's take one more look at it here on replay. As you can see, he didn't get a whole lot of air, but coming down is when his problems happen. As you can see, he doesn't make the turn, so he can't finish his race.
Well, as the competition continues here in Louisville, we're staging Bigfoot with Andy Brass. This is Bigfoot 4 against the Auto Value King Crunch. Scott Stevens strapped in the cockpit.
And of course, Scott Stevens, this is the first we've seen him here on the show. Now, he had a pretty easy run his first round against Thunder Chicken, and then Bigfoot came back as a fast loser, and this is going to be a fantastic race.
Well, once again, the shortest way around is the inside, which is what Scott Stevens has right now, but Bigfoot staying right with him. And the second half of this run, Bigfoot with Andy Brass will have the inside groove, and he makes the move on the inside, and he has the advantage right now.
Boy, and he just took over when he went over them cars. Oh, look at Crunch get a little out of shape there. He slid. That's going to cost him. But what also costed him is he didn't hit them cars very hard, and that's where Andy really made up some ground. And Andy's going to take the win.
So Andy will move into the Final 4. And Rich, as we take a look at the replay, amplify on the driving styles.
Right there, Andy just kept his foot in it and didn't let off coming across them cars. And Scott Stevens took it a little easy. I think that he thought that he was a little bit farther ahead of Andy than he really was.
Well, you're never far enough ahead of Andy Brass in Bigfoot. So he'll take on the Carolina Crusher. And now we take a look at the pairing with the Jersey Outlaw Mike Wine and John Moore in No Problem, a pair of Ford products.
And of course, oh, right off the bat, No Problem has a big problem. Now, Mike Wine's got to be loving this. That truck has not been running good all day long.
Well, Mike Wine is overheating right now.
He is very much so. That engine is just not going to hold together for him, and he gets a good break here. But he's got to finish this race, and I'm not sure if John's going to be able to get going again and finish the run. I think he's broken pretty good.
Well, I think you call this the junkyard engine in the Jersey Outlaw.
Almost exactly that, Gary. It is the motor that they had to put in the truck to make this weekend. They blew up their alcohol-injected motor like 2 weeks ago, and so they got to get out here and make some money, of course, to afford another engine, plus they got to get these points so they can stay up top. Now, as you can see, he's just going to take it over nice and easy over this last set. He's going to take the win, advance to the semifinals, but he's in a hurry. He's got to get back to the pits. He's calling for his crew guy to get over there to get that engine cooled off so they can be ready for the next round.
They'll need to cool that engine down because he will go up against the Equalizer in the semifinals. The action will continue on Trucks and Tractor Power from Louisville, Kentucky. An enthusiastic crowd on hand here at the Louisville Motor Speedway. They are ready for the Final Four shootout. And here's the way they got there. The Equalizer knocked out Mopar Magic. The Jersey Outlaw, overheating, took out No Problem. Bigfoot also the victor over King Crunch, and the Carolina Crusher had a bye as one Ford begins to pull into the racetrack. There is a problem down in the pit area as they try to cool off another Ford. Let's listen in to Mike Wine.
Got a plug. So he said I can run that out. Is there any water in the cylinder now?
I will have to bump it over to find out.
Okay, tell him. Let me get a regular screwdriver. I'll bump it over and see what comes out.
Well, Gary, they're trying to get the engine going and everything. Now, he's hoping that he can get it running enough to make it through one more round.
Well, here we have a Ford against a Chevrolet. Bigfoot and Andy Brass, Gary Porter, and the Carolina Crusher. The winner here goes on to the finals.
Andy's having problems again with the truck. The Carolina Crusher gets a big jump on him. Now, you can tell that engine's cutting out and popping on him, but he still keeps it running, and he's coming on strong.
Oh, he's closing down that gap between Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher, and Bigfoot. Here comes Bigfoot. He'll have the inside lane on the second half of this circuit.
Now, Carolina Crusher took a pretty big bounce there, and that's going to cost him a couple seconds, Gary, and that gives Andy a good chance to catch up, and he has. They're side by side, come to the finish line.
You call it, Rich. It was too close. A photo finish between the Ford Bigfoot and the Chevrolet, the Carolina Crusher, and the fans love it.
Gary, I couldn't tell from down here. It was so close. The finish line is right at the end of them cars, and if you ask me, it's side-by-side action there.
Well, here comes a handshake between Andy Brass and Gary Porter, and let's have a look at this great run again. It didn't start out so good.
No, it didn't, especially for Andy. Gary was doing great going around that first half. Now, he did get a little high up in the air when he hit the cars the first time, as we'll see here. He's taking a little slow, but he nails it there. And right here is where he bounces up. Okay, he's losing some time there, and this gives Andy he did a perfect landing there, and that gives him a chance to really catch up to Porter. But when they come around this last corner, hey, your guess is as good as mine because they are both side by side.
Indeed, fender to fender, wheel to wheel, the final time over the cars. I can't tell who won it. Army Armstrong, who won?
Ladies and gentlemen, you had to see, I believe, the best monster truck race ever. You just saw it. Between the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet and the Bigfoot Ford. Andy Brass, it bobbled on you right on the starting line. Have any idea what happened?
No, I don't. You know, we've been having problems with that right off the line. All night tonight it's been bobbling on us. We fixed it one run, and then this run it acted up again.
Well, by the crowd screaming, we just found out you're coming to the finals. You took the win. Gary, does that surprise you?
It was a very close race. I knew I was going to push the truck really hard, and they're running against Andy, and right there at the end, I thought he did get me.
Indeed, he did. Right at the very end, we take a look again at how Bigfoot with Andy Brass made his way into the finals. Right there is the finish line, and what, about 3 feet at most.
Hey, Gary, I don't know if you can hear this sound from up there, but this is the noise of the Jersey Outlaw coming in, and it doesn't sound good. The head gaskets on this engine are totally gone. He's leaking antifreeze and water everywhere. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to keep this truck cool enough to make this round, let alone go into the final.
And the competition represented by the equalizer, young Greg Holbrook. So the winner here will go up against Bigfoot in the finals. And right now, it looks to be a runaway by Greg Holbrook.
Yeah, but he's not doing too bad with Jersey Outlaw. He's staying up with him, but he's having a little problems down here. Jersey Outlaw is pulling over, a lot of smoke coming out from him. Greg Holbrook's going to have an easy run, but he's not sure what happened to Jersey Outlaw. He can't turn around and really see him yet. About now he can, so he knows he's got the race won.
Well, Holbrook will go to the championship round against Bigfoot and Andy Brass. It'll be Chevrolet against Ford, and there is the finish line for Greg Holbrook, and there is an overheating Jersey Outlaw. And Rich, you go over and see if you can get a comment from Mike Wine as we take a look at the Outlaw as he will abort this run and come to a stop on the backside of the Louisville Motor Speedway.
I was going to keep going, but the radiator line or something broke. I had so much water in here. My arms and legs were just scalding. I couldn't take it no more. I just had to stop.
So Mike Wine drove it as far as he could, but it wasn't far enough as Greg Holbrook takes the victory in the equalizer. The defending national champion will go up against Andy Brass and Bigfoot in the championship here in Louisville, Kentucky. It will be Chevrolet against Ford. A great crowd on hand, and they are enthusiastic. They are ready for the final championship shootout between Holbrook and Andy Brass. Here's Army Armstrong.
Everybody in Louisville, Kentucky's on their feet. They're ready for the Monster Smash final. Here's the way it's going to be lining up. The old pro, Andy Brass, is taking number 4, Bigfoot. The old truck, not the new truck. He's going to prove he can win with it. The only thing that's going to stop him is a big blue Chevrolet Olivola Steer-Tated Tennessee being driven by a rookie. Greg Holbrook is going to go head-to-head with Andy Brass. Everybody's on their feet. The electricity's in the air. It's final time. A little blue on blue in the bluegrass.
Boy, oh boy, we need to sedate Army. He is really excited down there as it's Ford against Chevrolet. Greg Holbrook against the veteran Andy Brass. Now, Andy's had trouble all evening. Gets off to a poor start.
Boy, he did. Greg Holbrook just totally beat him out of the hole. I don't know if Andy had problems with it or Greg just caught a better light. But anyway, Andy is starting to catch up here at the first jump. This is going to be a close race the whole way around, Gary.
Well, Andy now will have the inside lane, the final half of this circuit, and he is very close to Greg Holbrook. It will indeed be a close one. Another side-by-side finish. Get out your cameras. It could be a photo finish. Who won it?
Oh, Gary, I couldn't tell from down here. It was so close. They actually almost collided at the finish line. It was that close. Let's try to get this on replay quick so we can see who won this. I don't know.
I don't think the fans know. They're obviously cheering. The Ford fans cheering for Bigfoot. The Chevrolet fans are cheering for the equalizer. Here they are coming right at you.
Now, Gary, it looked like Bigfoot has just a little bit of a lead coming around that corner, but the equalizer hit the cars first. Look how close they are. Now, this could have been a serious wreck if Andy would have ended up on top of the equalizer's tires coming across that. But an excellent driver. These guys are both excellent drivers, and they pulled out of it. Now, here on this angle, we can't really tell who won because it's not exactly at the finish line. Let's get a reverse angle. Right here is where you're going to be able to see it, and you're going to tell it's the equalizer by a half a tire.
Well, we went to the final. We told you the story about the new All-American kid. He's for real. Greg Holbrook, but it didn't come easy, did it?
No, it was a real close race. I couldn't tell. I just seen him in the air come down the side of me.
Did you have any fear at all that he might actually land on you?
Yeah, all I see out the corner of the eye was his tire. I didn't know where he was going. You can't think about stuff. You just got to keep it to the floor.
Well, congratulations to young Greg Holbrook. He takes the victory here. That wraps it up in Louisville, Kentucky for Rich Hooser and Army Armstrong. I'm Gary Lee. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to join us next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. And now here's news about a new exciting release from Diamond P Sports. It's time to shake, battle, and roll. Call 1-800-453-2800 for 70 minutes of awesome air-grabbing rooster tail spring action from the worlds of monster truck racing, truck and tractor pulling, and mud bogging. Relive the great moments of thrilling side-by-side monster truck racing. Feel the ground shake from the raw power of truck and tractor pulling. And get down and dirty as the best mud racers battle the slime for the fastest time. All this incredible action on one video cassette. just by calling 1-800-453-2800. That's 1-800-453-2800. Strap up for a ride on the wild side. It's time to shake, battle, and roll.